What's up, y'all? Welcome back to Dolphins Daily, your daily dose of Dolphins content with your boy, Chris Kane. Let's talk about the Dolphins. So, we've been talking about these tender contracts for the last few episodes where the Dolphins can tender a player, basically making them not a full free agent, but if someone wants to get them, we can get some kind of compensation or have a chance to match it, right? So, recently, Kader Kohu, who is one of maybe our third corner, sometimes starts because guys get hurt. Kader is he's a lightning rod type person if you like are a defensive back watcher. I'm a former DB. I love defensive backs. I love watching them. And he's had such a this career where he'll do like really great for 3 or 4 games where you think, hey, this might be our franchise corner. And then he'll have multiple games where you're just like, fam, what are we doing in coverage? What is that? And that's kind of the life of a cornerback. Most corners actually fall in this category. There's like 5 to 10 that are like usually consistently good. The rest are, yeah, you play well against the Chiefs, but really poorly against the Raiders, Chargers, like that kind of thing. So Cater this past year, I thought was actually pretty solid, especially when he filled in for Kendall Fuller, and he's not an upper echelon corner, but he's definitely better than like a reserve corner. So he's in that middle ground. The problem is the Dolphins don't have a ton of money. So the way it works is, I'm sure you guys have heard first round tender, second round tender, that kind of thing. Those aren't just designations for a team to come get them. There's also money attached to it, right? So each tender you go up, it's like another couple $1 million that's guaranteed to the player. So we gave Cater a 1 year tender. It'll be like $7.5 million. So if someone wants him, they take on a contract, and then the Dolphins get a pick in response, right? But if we keep him, we have to pay him the $7 million contract. The problem is the Dolphins haven't had that much free money, so we can only offer him the right to first refusal and be financially responsible. So we're only, I think it's 3.2 million if I'm not mistaken. So it's a smaller guarantee amount of money. Most times teams don't try to press it. When they see a first round tender, first refusal, most teams are like, you got it. We don't want to give up money to the team, and like we don't want to do all that stuff, right? So it might still work out where he stays on the team, but if someone really likes him, they can come get him. Usually, a first round tender almost certainly keeps people off you. So this is where we talk about the cap all the time. We're like, cap, whatever. This is where the cap actually comes into play, because when you don't have cap money, you can't like put your chips on the table. We would love to give a first round tender and say we like this guy enough. We don't know about long term contract, but we love him for next year. First round tender, come give up a first round pick to come get this guy. Who's gonna do that? Basically nobody, right? So you're guaranteeing you keep him at a decent number, everything is all good. But you don't have money, you got to play the game of, I think this will keep you, but we might lose you. And that's what we are with Cater right now. So cornerback is it's a very important position for every team. Very few teams have two good corners. Very few. A couple have a good corner, a good safety, two safeties, no corner. There's a lot of combinations you can mix and match, but very few teams are like, we got two dudes at corner that we feel like we good to go. That's not really how it works. So if a team thinks that he is maybe the missing piece on their defense, then a right to refuse is not going to be enough to keep him from the free agent market. So we are knocking on wood and fingers crossed because I like him, and I think having him at corner next year, I think would be better than drafting. Because I assume we're not going to draft the corner in the first round. So if at best second round, fourth round corner, I think he's better than any of those people who will be there. And if you think Miami can win next year, give me a corner to team up with J Ram that we feel like, or we got two good corners, and then we'll figure out safety down the line. Versus, let's draft the 21-year-old and hope the lights aren't too bright for him, and like we don't. There's no Sauce Gardner in this draft, by my opinion. I mean, unless Travis Hunter, but we're not gonna get Travis Hunter, right? So outside of that, I don't think we have a lockdown. We got this guy one. So if we think Cater's that dude, then hopefully it works out. But optimistic. Usually this works out for the team that puts the tender on, but you know, could go the other way. We'll see. Now this is a interesting story because again it relates to the cap, but also familiarity. So Raekwon Davis was a Dolphins draft pick. We had him here for a few years, and he was always solid, never exceptional. I don't think he was ever bad. He just didn't fit in Vic Fangio's defense. So when Vic came along, he was just a casualty. Like he never fit in the scheme. Vic didn't like playing him. He subbed other guys in for him. He started riding the bench. When you start riding the bench, woof, you may not get back on the field, right? So we let him go, and then Vic left, which was like, all right, that's we left because the DC didn't like you, but then DC left. So then where are we? So Vic left, won a Super Bowl, whatever, and Raekwon went to the Colts. And this year with the Colts, he was his worst year. A little banged up. The Colts defense is actually kind of solid, but he just didn't have a particularly great year. And then the Colts just cut him. So now he's a complete free agent. There's no financial ties to him or whatever. There's not like a ton of buzz around him because he's not like one of those people that people jump out of the window for. But that gives the Dolphins a good opportunity because he is one, and I got to prove it because whatever deal he signs, almost certainly going to be a 1 year deal. Almost certainly. Because you just got cut. You got released by the Dolphins the year before. Thumbs up. So stupid. They're like, good point, Chris. I'm like, thank you. Oh, you didn't do it that time. That's hate. So he got released by the Dolphins, and then the next year got cut by a second team. Typically, when you start getting in these double cut situations, the league starts looking at you like, you may not got the sauce, man. You don't got it no more. Which is a good opportunity for a team like the Dolphins because he knows the market. He knows some of the players on the team. Different defensive scheme, obviously, but you can learn it. It's fine. We have a need for his position, and it's not going to cost us big money. I can see this being a 1 year, $2 to $2.5 million contract with some of that being incentives. Like I can see it being like that low. And he didn't leave on bad terms. It wasn't like he was a bad player. It's just the coach didn't like him. So I think this is a great opportunity to kind of get him. I'm hearing some Javon Hargrave stuff. That we'll get into that probably tomorrow. But if it's we need a fit, big body, something to prove, I love something to prove, guys. I'm just a fan of it. We all know the contract year player that when that deal's on the line, all of a sudden just be saucing, extra practices, great with the media, career high. Like, man, this guy's great. He's like, oh, when that contract gets signed up, all of a sudden, not good no more. What happened? I'm just trying to find the love for the game. There's no love for the game. You got paid. That's what happened. So that contract year, listen, you can get the best of them for that year. If they have anything left in the tank, they're giving it everything because they want to get that 3 to 5 year extension because that was what sets them up for the future. Raekwon's going on 31. No, he's not. Sorry, 28. But still, this is possibly your last big contract. If you give him a 3 year deal, you're going to be in your 30s as a D tackle that's been cut a couple times. I don't see this being another 10-year career. So if we can sign him for a low number, highly incentivize it, I do think you're going to get the best version of him. What does that look like? I don't know. 4 to 6 sacks, 40, 50 tackles, couple quarterback pressures. I'll take that right now. For $2 million? Yeah, I'll take that. So we'll see. This is my own personal theory about 1 year people. I think it's usually a good thing. I'm fine with coaches being on the last year of their contracts. I'm fine with most players being on the last year of their contracts. I'm not fine with it if you're Jamar Chase. I think that's dumb. Sign Jamar Chase because he's the GOAT. But if you're a player or you're a coach that you're kind of producing it, like the Kirk Cousins whole fiasco where Kirk was always getting franchised, I thought was great. Because I don't think you're good long term. And anyone who's given him long term money regretted it. So I'm good with 1 year contracts. Hopefully Raekwon comes. I like Raekwon actually. So I would like to see him on the team. And finally, we're going to talk about Bradley Chubb's contract restructure, cut, however you want to call it. Basically, it's not fully a contract. It's not fully a cut because he can make all the money back and incentives. So it's a restructure, but the probability of him getting all the incentives is lower. Yeah, that's a better way of saying it. So contract is like you cut your contract, but you can still make the money back, basically. But by doing that, he saved the team over $16 million, which is tremendous. Because as we mentioned with Cater, we have a lot of contract issues. We have a lot of cap issues. We have a lot of positions to fill, right? 2 guards, 2 safeties, maybe a corner, maybe a D tackle, right? We have a lot of money needs to be spent, and that's not a lot of money, right? Right now, the Dolphins are about $27 million under the cap. You can maybe fill 2 of those with our current amount of money. You can probably get a guard and maybe a safety in that bubble. You're not going to be able to fill all that with that amount of money. So there's probably more deals to be made because we need to free up a little bit more money unless you just want to get cheaper 1 year or draft pick kind of people. But this is great for Chubb because I told you before, Chubb ain't trying to go nowhere. No one's going to say, hey, you can get hurt, not play, and still make money. That's not how the league works. So he's in a good situation. He won't have to get all the snaps. This saves the team some money, so that's good relation with the squad. There's no indication now if the Dolphins have like a particular person they're trying to target. I imagine they want close to the best guard on the market, but with this old lineman contracts out of control. Ronnie Stanley just got extended for $20 million a year, and he's been badish 2 of the last 3 years. He was okay this year. The last couple of years, not good, and he just got $20 million a year. Now he's a tackle, so that's a little bit different. But I think Robert Hunt got paid when he left the Dolphins. But Carolina just backed the truck up. A lot of money for offensive linemen. So with that amount of cap room, you might be able to get like a second tier guard and maybe a Justin Simmons type safety. Not him in particular, but someone in that ilk. But we probably need to free up a little bit more money. But for Chubb doing what he did, he gets us in a good position to where maybe we can pick up one of those guys in free agency. Then that changes how we draft because if we pick up that player for agency, we don't have to draft it, and we can kind of help build a team. So shout out to you, Bradley, for not being a hater and doing what's in the best interest of the team and also for yourself. We like you down here. But anyway, that would do it for today's episode of Dolphins Daily. Sorry my voice is a little hoarse. I literally taped the comedy special last night, so I was up very late. Hopefully you see that soon. But we enjoy y'all for being here. Likes, subscribes are off the charts right now. You guys are killing it. And we'll see you next time on Dolphins Daily. Peace.